Let him calm down himself. He's a rat. Hawes regards you with his eyes and squeaks with what you think is disdain. He's less sure-footed on descent. Okay, that makes sense. Says Kriya, and please refrain from glaring at him so he has some fear of you. He should fear me, you say. One of his cousins nearly ripped my innards out down in that filthy sewer, and now the two of you are teaming up to create a spectacle that I may not be able to forget, an unholy association with something I adore. You're being a baby, whispers Kriya. Hawes is cleaner than you normally are, and far cleaner than you are now. Perhaps it is not my concern, but what you do or do not forget. All I'm saying is that I would expect a little more class from the daughter of... Don't say it, she hisses. What did I tell you about controlling that tongue? Seems like he could ride on your shoulder, as I've seen other pets do, you mutter as you turn away. With a deep breath, you try to focus your mind to find a quick and safe route down to the street. The Day Watchtower is the oldest fortification in the city, older than the castle, says Kriya as she bites her lip. Contemplating... Why is she always biting her lip? Contemplating the next leap. Was she biting her finger before? I don't remember. Contemplating the next leap down to a lower roof. They used to watch for the enemy, mostly giants in those ancient days. You hold up your hand and come on, stop delaying, I'll catch you. She jumps and lands on the tiles expertly. You grab her arm as though to steady her, but it's unnecessary. She continues. The city was small then, yet the tower gave great comfort to the people around it. From the top you can see for miles. It was the center of the city then and was built later when the castle was built, that became the center. Fascinating, you say. Regretting your sarcasm, you quickly add, who mans it now, the Dukesmen? Elves mostly, says Kriya. They use it as a base for their rooftop patrols during the day. I think I mentioned them before. Oh right, we did get shot at by one of the fucking elves at one point, I feel. You stop. Yes, I have made the acquaintance of one of their numbers, you say, remembering Ariel the Wood Elf. I hope not to meet him here. We had a few disagreements, and when I last saw him, he was unfriendly. Kriya chuckles. I could only imagine that you rub an elf the wrong way. Not an elf anymore, you think. Quickly you make your way down to the street below. It is quiet down here, with the sounds of battle further off. You unsheath your sword. It glows faintly. It is... If a fiend were closer, it would grow brighter. You decide to put the sword away again. Right now, you're ready. You rather have stealth than a ready weapon. Turn to Kriya, her rat staring out at you from under her neck. For the love of gods, please stow the sewer rat outside. I don't want to see it. The gods know the tower elves do not want to see it. And worse, they will assume us to be leagues with dark forces. He's very cozy and I'm enjoying his warmth, says Kriya with a playful smile. Her smile widens as she sees your surprise at a joke. However, she pulls Hawes out from her cleavage and swiftly stows him away in one of her magical pockets. You lead the way, urging Kriya to keep to the shadows as you do so. Turning the corner, you nearly stumble over Corpse. He's an elf, judging by his pointy ears, but he's very pale. So much so that you whisper, gods, are the dark elves here too? Kriya looks down at the corpse and shakes the structure. No, the bone structure is too robust, a high elf. You ought to know, you say with a wink. What does that mean? She says, I'm aware of your perverse fascination with dark elves, as I remember how excited you were when I transformed us into cave pixies. I'm fascinated by many things, a virtue for a mage, she says, as she looks up at the tower that looms above. And have some respect for the dead. The pangs of... Do we have to have respect for the dead? I don't really give a shit about that sort of thing. At least in this situation. A pang of guilt hills you then. You to use a dead body to tease Kriya seems a bit callous. I'm becoming like you, Agra, you say. There is no response, only the feeling of a faint presence. Be ready to aid your brave champion, you say, as you look around and approach the drawbridge of the tower. Hello? Calls Kriya up to the tower. Is anyone of good intent alive up there? Alive indeed, you mutter. A corpse floats in the moat, face down. Another elf based on the pointy ears. Besides the moat, on the street a few meters away are two more dead elves, one face down, the other with his throat slashed open, as though by an animal. Who goes there? Oh, was it? By the way, I still remember that one of the alleys we went down, there were like people who were like assassinated like properly, with like cut without much resistance. So like, how did that happen? Like, are these the people who did it? Who were they exactly? They've never mentioned that. Who goes there? Looking up to follow the voice, you see a bright green eye regarding you through a arrow slit 2 stories up. Friends of the Day Watch, I'm Kriya of the Maw, and this is a Brewster. The eye disappears and reappears in a larger hole directly over the drawbridge, likely used to pour hot oil through. Now you see that the eye belongs to a handsome elf. Indeed, he could be a relative of Lestrel, all you know. Definitely not a wool elf, you're happy to note. His porcelain skin reminds you of dark elves such as Durin. However, you tamp down this uneasiness, assuring yourself that this must be another high elf. The elf smiles. It pleases me to look upon friendly faces. I'm Theomund of the Day Watch. We have just withstood a grievous assault, yet We have prevailed for now. Do you seek entrance? Yes, and make haste, says Kriya, looking over her shoulder for a moment before returning her attention back to Theodman. Rest behind the thick walls, and any counsel you can spare time for is our greatest desire. The elf nods. I shall down the bridge. Give me but a moment. Down to lower the bridge. Give me but a moment. They look a bit short-handed, you say, looking over the corpse. Kriya shakes her head grimly. You consider what you do as you wait. The elf corpses may be worth inspecting indeed. Any supplies that might be of value for you, for the adventure ahead. On the other hand, perhaps you should remain vigilant to watch your back. The nearest street may be quiet, but you seriously doubt they're empty. Finally, there's the moat which is connected to the river. Maybe you can find somehow communicate with the mermaids. Shout underwater. What are the mermaids going to do for me in this situation? All these are good options. Like, I would like to watch my back. I would like to inspect the corpses, but probably he's gonna get mad, so let's not go that way. Let's call for the mermaids. It's going to be retarded, but let's do it. The only reason I'm doing this is because this is retarded. Watch our backs, you whisper as you walk over to the moat and get down on your hands and knees and bring your face near the water. You need not drink from there, says Kriya, her voice tinged with disgust. I still have water. Ignoring her, you stick your head down under the water and shout, Naratva, I'm here. Your words are garbled, but not very recognizable to you, but certainly the mermaids can hear it. Now you wonder what else to say. Are you trying to save her, or do you want her to save me? Naratva, save me, you shout. Having decided that it might be possible to get to your destination underwater, that would be clever. You come out of the water, take a breath. Chains rattle as the drawbridge creaks open nearby. What madness is this, Rooster, says Kriya. I haven't survived countless perils without using a few tricks, you say. A thrill of approval and power percolates up from Megra. Perhaps she is not completely asleep after all. You're going to catch the plague sticking your face in there, says Kriya. So says the witch who led me into the sewer and got me half-eaten by filthy rats, you say. She shakes her head and turns to face the descending drawbridge. You dunk down again and shout for Navrata. You hear nothing of the mermaid, only the garbled clanking of chains, followed by a thud. Not wanting to act too much like a freak in front of the tower guards, pull head out from the moat and get to your feet. Thedman the elf is standing in the threshold of the gate's opening, and he's dressed in a well-fitted leather armor and has a long bow slung on his back and quiver slung on his side. It gives you a curious look before turning his attention to Kriya, an inviting smile on his face. Again, the elf turns to you and his gaze turns praising. It appears you have been through much. You groan in your mind. No doubt he's referring to your clothing. You haven't time to explain it, so you simply say, as have you. You point towards the body strewn about. He nods. The monster we repelled were formidable, yet the tower still approves to be safe haven for the good people of the city. You may enter. Kriya courtesies and begins walking towards him. Quickly you bow to Theoman and follow after Kriya, feeling afraid of what might be coming after you from the shadows at any moment. Inside the oh, please don't tell me fucking Galmagus is gonna show up. Galmagus, more than likely Zelva might show up, and if that happens, the only option we have is to fucking run, and without Kriya we can't even do that. So, oh boy, everyone in this building will die. Inside the gatehouse, Theodmund grabs the crank and begins hauling the drawbridge back. The gatehouse is very fortress-like, with weapons hanging from racks along the walls. Most of the pole arms, such as pikes and halberds, also some small melee weapons, including a mace and a warhammer. The arrow slits are very narrow on this level, providing maximum protection for defenders. Priya's watching Theodmund in the intense way she sometimes does. It reminds you of how she regards you when you first met in the Green Dragon Inn. No doubt she found you fetching when she first laid eyes on you, and now she's likewise attracted to this elf. Now closer to the elf, you can indeed confirm that he is handsome to the point of beauty, and his perfect skin and beautiful eyes, brilliant eyes. On top of this, he is now displaying great strength as he single-handedly draws the drawbridge. Instinctively, you expect a good mocking from Megra, likely something about your jealousy and pettiness. Yet you get none. She continues to slumber. Need any help? You ask. He shakes his head. It certainly doesn't appear that he requires any help. You notice a pink mark on his pale throat. You take a closer look to. Step forward to take a closer look at it. Pretty strong. You must do this often. Strong for an elf, he asks, glancing at you, his lips turning up into something like a snarl. No, just strong, you say, holding up your hands defensively. As he moves his head, you now see that it is not a pink mark, but two pink marks. The bite of a vampire, is it? You ought to know you have a similar bite yourself from Miranova, although your mark is already fading. Look at Kriya and touch your own throat, but she misses your signal. She's still staring intently at Theodmund. Maybe it's something else. You wonder, you have to be sure. You can't just accuse your host of being among the undead. Egra, wake up, I need your wisdom. Theodmund has finished hauling up the drawbridge. He turns to regard you. His eyes are hungry. Yes, that's a vampire, you realize. You don't need Egra or anyone else to tell you that. You've seen that look before in Renova's eyes. You're too close to him, he's going to strike. Life decreases 4. Malathrak Obois, shouts Kriya. What the hell is that? I need to increase my life 1, so let's just go back. Yeah, call from boost the Sorals at 1 point. Yeah, this chapter is not gonna end well. I might end up in the like very low ranking in this one. Call for the mermaids and this and that. Let's go on. Yeah. Too close to strike. Life decreases 4. Oh, I just died. I forgot that it would do 1 more. Okay. I'm fucking stupid. Whatever. Call for the mermaids. No, fuck. I'll be back in a second. Life decreases 4. Malathrak Abois, shouts Kriya. Whoosh. Flames shoot past you, strike Theoman, but he is already moving and most of the flames misses him. With his arm on fire, he lunges at you. You dodge, but his lightning fast fist grasps your shirt. You rip yourself free, but he punches the side of your head with his other hand with terrific force, knocking you prone. Barely conscious, you dimly hear Kriyan's arcane words again, followed by whooshing of more flames. An unearthly demonic cry of pure rage rises up. Must aid her, you think, as you muster all your will, shake your head and get to your feet. Theoman is aflame, yet very much alive, very much angry. Kriya is retreating. There is not much time before Theoman will go on the offensive. Time to act. Few options come to you. If he is truly a weapon, perhaps an arrow to the heart will help him. Will end him. On the other hand, Alethia's blade might be what we call for. Yeah, it's pointless to use the bow and arrow. They're very fast, so let's use just use a sword. Morale increases 2. You draw your sword. It vibrates with urgency as the holy flames explode into a huge inferno that almost hits the ceiling. Step aside, you shout as you charge. Theoman is on fire, thrashing about. His mouth is open in agony, exposing a pair of long fangs. If you need any more confirmation of him being a vampire, you now have it. Kriya manages to get out of the way before you swing, although distracted by the flames. Theoman desperately rises up his arm to parry. Your blade cleanly slices through his arm, severing it just below the elbow. He leaps away with amazing speed and snatching a halberd with a long shaft to the wall. He certainly has a longer reach than your sword now. From your peripheral vision, you see Kriya pulling something out of her dress. There is a pike on the wall nearby, to your right. One of your favorite weapons. You could either go for the pike and press in swiftly with your sword, or you could retreat back to where Kriya is and switch to your bow. I don't think it will give us a moment to grab our fucking sword. I think I'm gonna boost my life a little bit because I boosted a bit too much, but fuck it. I think I'm gonna die otherwise. I'm gonna press in with the sword because I don't think there's time to pick up the pike. These things are fucking fast. Press in with your sword. Yep, life increases 4, morale increases 4. With no time to waste, you press him with your flaming sword. With great strength, Theoman wields the halberd, parry the head of the weapon, sending forth a great spark as you continue to close in. Too close for him to use the long weapons effectively. Suddenly, he lashes out with his foot, striking you in the chest and sending you flying. In pain, you scramble to your feet as Kriya steps forward, a wand in her hand. Boom! Thunder is deafening as lightning shoots forth from Kriya's wand. The vampire is blasted backwards, flames licking at the edge of a newly formed black crater in his leather armor. With a cry, you rush forward, swinging your mighty sword, cleaving Theoman's head from his shoulders. The vampire's predatory eyes bulge for a moment before his decapitated head and the rest of his body swiftly turn grey. I dissolve into a heap. Now all that remains are the vampire is a pile of leather armor and ashes. Well done, Rooster. Kriya grasps as she catches her breath. Nice work yourself, you say with a wink. Gods, I admire the initiative you took with the initial fire spell. I think I was as surprised as he was. I saw the mark upon him. You were right to be suspicious. He smiles at you grimly. I'd say you went a step further than suspicious. You say some marks on the skin can be made from a lot of things. What makes you sure enough to risk burning an innocent elf alive? Horse smelled the death on him and warned me, she says, reaching into the folds of her dress, stroking something, presumably the rat. Well, you can thank him for me, I suppose, you say. How is it that you speak to him? I would enjoy telling you at length, and yet perhaps not when, she shrugs as she looks at the stairway. When not having just entered a vampire's tower, set off a thunderbolt, you say. Speaking of which, that looks rather handy. She puts the wand into the folds of her dress, thinks otherwise and pulls it out again. It is from Rau's tower, you supply. Her smile fades into a hard line and she does not answer. Come, let us have a look around. Point at the wand and keep that ready. There might be more of them. If there are more of them, this probably not gonna end well. Is it fucking Aeronova that have made so many of them? The two of you search the tower floor by floor, being as quick as you can while watching out for an ambush. You find a kitchen with a large cauldron, sleeping quarters, and more dead elves. You keep your sword at the ready, fearing that some of these corpses may actually be faking it, but thankfully your weapon does not ignite. Some of the unfortunate guards appear to have been swiftly slaughtered, the blood spattered across the walls and their entrails spilled out, while others are left intact, peaceful almost, the mark of the vampire's fang upon their throat. At the roof of the tower, inside the parapet, a dozen corpses lie scattered about.